People hate Trump so much that they're twisting themselves in knots, trying to blame him for a natural disaster that no one saw coming. It's not about facts, it's about their obsession with tearing him down no matter what, and the desperation is showing. First, I'm going to show you Trump's rational, sane responses to the Texas floods, and then the unhinged left side of how these events took place. This is Andy with TrendingPolitics.com. Hit like, subscribe, and let's get into this.
Thank you very much. We've been in touch with Governor Abbott and very close to Governor Abbott and everybody in Texas. Kristi Noem has, as you know, been there and will continue to be there. And we're working very close with representatives from Texas, and it's a horrible thing that took place. Absolutely horrible. So we say God bless all of the people that have gone through so much, and God bless the state of Texas. It's an incredible place. Any questions, Ms.?
President, are you still planning to phase out FEMA?
Well, FEMA is something we can talk about later, but right now they're busy working, so we'll leave it at that. Go ahead.
In light of the floods, do you think that the federal government needs to hire back any of the meteorologists who were fired in the last few months?
I wouldn't know that. I really wouldn't. I would think not. This was the thing that happened in seconds. Nobody expected it. Nobody saw it. Very talented people are there, and they didn't see it. It's, I guess they said, once in 100 years. They've never seen anything like this. So I wouldn't, people are trying to blame the school. They're trying to blame the camp. They're trying to blame. It's just a horrible thing. But no, I wouldn't say that, no.
And the deals right now.
Okay?
Are you investigating whether some of the cuts to the federal government left key vacancies at the National Weather Service or in the emergency coordination?
No,
They did not.
No, they did. I'll tell you, if you look at that, what a situation that all is, and that was really the Biden setup. That was not our setup, but I wouldn't blame Biden for it either. I would just say this is a 100-year catastrophe, and it's just so horrible to watch.
Are you planning to visit Texas, Mr. President?
Probably on Friday. We wanted to leave a little time. I would have done it today, but we'd just be in their way. Probably Friday.
Now, here's where the meltdown begins. While Trump is calmly acknowledging the tragedy and pointing out that no one saw this flood coming, the left fired up the outrage machine. Enter this guy, spinning conspiracy theories about weather services, FEMA, and somehow blaming the deaths of these poor victims on Trump budget cuts. This is how far they'll go to politicize a natural disaster. Take a look.
Tragic development. The latest count is showing at least 51 people, including 15 children, are dead after devastating flash floods tore through central Texas on July 4th. More than 24 people from a children's summer camp in Kirk County remain missing. The Guadalupe River surged an estimated 29 feet in just 45 minutes, catching families completely off guard in the middle of the night. But while we obviously have no control over the weather, we do have control over the systems that monitor it. But those systems weren't in play in Texas. Kirk County Judge Rob Kelly stated that no one knew this kind of flood was coming and noted that the state did not have any warning system in place for major flooding events. Multiple witnesses said no advance warning was given. None. And you might be thinking, how is that possible? How do 51 people die in the year 2025 from flooding with zero warning? Here's how. Donald Trump gutted the very agencies whose job it is to give that exact kind of warning and keep us safe. Since Trump took office, the National Weather Service has experienced significant staff reductions. After the NWS's first wave of firings and early retirements under the Trump administration, staffing at the service's 122 field offices across the country have dropped to a 19% vacancy rate. 19%! The office is also without two of its top managers, including one position known as Warning Coordination Meteorologist. The person in that role is responsible for improving public awareness around severe weather warnings, including flash flood warnings. Seems kind of important in retrospect, huh? In other words, Trump fires the people whose literal job is coordinating weather warnings and then acts surprised when people don't get warned about deadly floods. This is like firing all of the lifeguards and then wondering why people are drowning. Here's a report from months ago warning about the consequences of exactly this type of situation given the staffing shortages.
Days out from what's forecast to be an above-normal hurricane season, scientists across the country are sounding the alarm over critical staffing shortages. Inside the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, officials are scrambling to fill more than 150 critical National Weather Service roles left vacant after sweeping cuts from the Trump administration. Overall, the service has lost 600 of its 4,000 employees since January. 5 former NWS directors calling it their worst nightmare in an open letter earlier this month, predicting understaffing could lead to needless loss of life.
In other words, there was clear notice that this was going to happen. And yet, did that stop the mass firings? Clearly not. In fact, Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem took some time off from dressing up as Ice Barbie and Safari Barbie and Prison Warden Barbie and Forging the Rio Grande Barbie to offer up this word salad in response to the failure of the systems to alert people.
I got updates at 7 o'clock. First one I heard. And I've heard updates throughout the week, but not before 7 o'clock in the morning. Wasn't that a fundamental failure of the federal government's responsibility to keep us safe?
Well, you know, my background is before I was in the secretary position here under the Trump administration, I was governor of South Dakota and served in Congress for 8 years before I was governor. And so I will tell you that for decades, for years, everybody knows that the weather is extremely difficult to predict, but also that the National Weather Service over the years at times has done well, and at times we have all wanted more time and more warning and more alerts and more notification. That is something, and one of the reasons that when President Trump took office, that he said he wanted to fix, and is currently upgrading the technology, and the National Weather Service has indicated that with that and NOAA that we needed to renew this ancient system that has been left in place with the federal government for many, many years, and that is the reforms that are ongoing there. You know, when your notification hit your phone, sir, I'm sorry I can't speak to when that is, but I do carry your concerns back to the federal government and to President Trump, and we will do all we can to fix those kinds of things that may have felt like a failure to you and to your community members. But we know that everybody wants more warning time, and that's why we're working to upgrade the technologies that have been neglected by far too long to make sure that families have as much advanced notice as possible.
Let's start with Kristi Noem. She calmly explained the situation without the blame games. She pointed out the hard truth that weather is unpredictable, that the system is outdated, and that the federal government has already been working to fix it. She acknowledged the challenges and outlined the updates that are already underway. That's more than what we can say for the people that are pointing fingers at Donald Trump and Kristi Noem. And let's just deal in reality for a second. This part of Texas had no warning system because it's never needed one. Local officials have never seen a 29-foot raise in 45 minutes in their entire lives. And they've said it themselves. This flood came out of nowhere. It wasn't predictable. It wasn't modeled, and no one expected it. And that's not negligence. That's nature. And the agencies on the ground, the local, the state, and the federal, were just as blindsided as the families that were caught in the flood. What you just watched wasn't this guy doing journalism. It was a desperate attempt to take a tragedy and twist it into political ammunition. And they don't care about the facts. They only care about optics. And if they can exploit pain and take a swipe at Trump, they will every single time, truth be damned. There's a time for politics and a time for facts. This was a tragedy, a natural disaster, and using it to score points is just dishonest and shameful. This is Andy with TrendingPolitics.com. Stay informed, stay vigilant, and I'll see you next time.